just do what you love. Live it, share it, you know it's what you're dreaming of. What we love, what we do makes a difference in me.
Hi everyone, it's Pauline from Stamp with Pauline, Stampin' Stampede, and today I'm going to show you how to use the Give It a Whirl dies that are in the new in the annual catalogue on page 57. So I've put mine in a clear DVD case with magnetic sheets inside, so they're all together. So you just need to get this die, which is on page 163 of the catalogue, and it's $68 Australian for that. So what you need to do is take a base card. So here I have Calypso Coral cardstock, and I folded that in half. I've cut out some Sweet Symmetry Designer Series paper because this month of July is Designer Series paper special. So there's Designer Series paper at 15% off. So it's a great time to stock up. And so I thought I'd use some Designer Series paper to create this card. What you need to do is take your dies, and there is this square panel piece here. Lay that down over your Designer Series paper and cut, and it will actually cut the outer edge, this curve, and it also places a dot, a little cutout circle in the middle just there for your brad to go through. So you will also need some of the round and square brads that are also in the catalogue. They come in round and square and in black and white. Alright, so the first thing you're going to do is fold over your base card, cut out your Sweet Symmetry Designer Series paper. Then what you need to do is lay this down onto your card, and using this die that comes in here, it actually just will emboss the arrow so that when you do the swirl, the moving mechanism, you actually know which direction to go in. So that then lays down onto, so you open your card up, position your Designer Series paper, work out where you want the die to go. So it's going to go there, and then you're going to cut it out using your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. But when I started to do this, I actually wasn't a fan of the fact that it actually doesn't line up, and this will drive me nuts not being symmetrical all the way around. So what I've decided to do is actually push it up, make sure all three edges are here, are even, and then I will cut out my arrow, and I'm going to trim the border of my card so that it again has the same dimensions all the way around. So I'll just do that. Alright, so I have now done that. So I have positioned my Designer Series paper, I have trimmed the bottom, and I have also done the embossing for the arrow to show which way it goes. Okay, the next thing you need to do with your dies is it comes with a circle die, and now this circle die actually lines up in that where that hole has been created from the square part of the die, so it can go there. It also gives you the opportunity of actually moving it around, so if I don't want the hole there, I can actually make the mechanism go wherever I want, but I am going to stick it to the top. The other thing I will be doing is also out of some Calypso Coral is I'll be cutting out the scalloped edge border as well, so that will be acting like a frame on my card. So I'll just do that. Okay, so I have my Designer Series paper now with the circle that has been cut out of it. I also have my scalloped edge circle that will now go around this part of the circle as well. So that's going to get glued onto there. Alright, that's that. Yep. Alright, and I've just got a little piece of Designer Series paper left over. Alright, what you will also need when you're doing this card is you need to cut out one of these dies. So when you cut this out, it's actually going to create you a scallop circle, and it actually has very faint indentation lines here of where you need to stamp in this area so that you get your stamp in the right spot. So another thing you can do, I have seen another demonstrator do this, and I'm not sure how to link the details to my YouTubes yet, but I thought this was a really cool way of doing it. What she has done is created a template, And what you can do is on the Stamparatus, you can position these two little lines here to line up with the indentations that are met with on the shape of the circle. So if you position that scallop circle into here, I now know from here to here is actually my area to stamp. Here along to here. You can draw this in pencil if you like, and then you'll know where to go. But then this actually gives you the line of where to stamp. It is very faint on there, so you could also, as another option, is actually just position your die back on and just gently mark out where you need to stamp. So that's a great way of doing it. And she's used the Stamparatus to do this, position her 3 stamps and stamped it all at one time. So I thought that was a top idea. Love that. I will try and find out how to link it. If not, I'll make a comment and see if I can copy those 2 on there. Another demonstrator also did this thing of creating a template here so that you can then go through your annual catalogue or any catalogue and measure up and see which words will actually fit. So if I take my Sweet Symmetry, I can actually see on here which will actually fit in that window box, so you can actually keep that. So I thought that was a really cool idea to keep a little template in your dies as well. So nifty little thing that was. And then I'll show you another thing that I did when I was making another card. So I'll show you that later, another idea with that. So let's get back to this. When you are stamping cutting out as well, just cut yourself another piece of Whisper White in a circle, because another demonstrator has noted that if you put this underneath, what you do need to do is just poke a little hole yourself in there, and then when it comes to threading it through into here with the brad, putting the dimensionals on here just freed up actually having a little bit more circle. It was a little bit more freer to do it. Another tutorial I've also seen from another demonstrator is actually putting 2 of the circles together, because that then made it a little bit stronger. So that was a little bit firmer. Then put on your circle so that this isn't as flimsy when turning that. Okay, so a couple of different things you can do. Thought they were really cool ideas. So what we need to do is stamp our words into here, and I'm actually going to use positive thoughts. I'm going to use hug, prayers and love in all 3 squares of here. All right, so I had a thought when I was creating this card as well, was to also come up with this idea. If I'm going to have a circle, getting an idea of where I'm actually going to position my words, or if my words or images were a little bit too long, covering over this part here and then removing it meant that it wasn't blocking up any extra. So say you were using a flower and it was too big, or a turtle and it's too big, positioning this over the top where you are ready to stamp, then if the stamp goes over onto this scrap piece here, it won't matter so much because it will be able to be pulled away. So that's something that I have noticed with that, or an idea that might help. Okay, so I have now stamped my words in Night of Navy. Just give that a clean. All right, now what happens is we position our... There's a couple of different ways you can do this part. You can stick the brad all the way through and you'll still see the brad coming through, but that's okay. So if you wanted to, just grab a brad. Okay, so what you do is thread it through the designer series paper, thread it through our scallop circle, and then thread that through again onto our little circle, And then when you go to open the brad, just don't clamp it down too tight, because you still want that to actually move around. So, yep. All right. On the back of here, though, we're going to stick some dimensionals. So, just need a couple of dimensionals on here. So everything's good. And then grab your base card. Let me just move my templates out of the way. And then using some more dimensionals, pop your extra ones just around the back, and just one in the center there so it doesn't sag down. Okay, so peeling off this, and because I've already put that brad in there, I know it's all center and everyone can see, you'll be able to see the scallop coming through the other side. If I had a different size piece of paper, you want to stick the circle mechanism part down first and then add your designer series paper, so I'll show you that as well. So I've got all of those off there. I'm going to stick this down in the center of here like so. Then what I'm going to do is just grab some of my multi-purpose and just popping some around here, and then pop that onto there. That's where I find the brad is a little bit tricky on that, because now it is actually sitting on that brad, so it does allow a little bit of a bulge. But if you're not too concerned about that, that's okay. You can also change it and put the brad just on the mechanism part and not the designer series paper. So to finish this card, what I will be doing is just stamping some words on here, and then maybe another symmetry flower cut out. All right, so that's how this works. What I did then create was, a couple of days ago I did this one, and this is, I've made it into a shaker card. So when I have cut out my scallop circle, I stamped my 3 images here. Then where the faint lines are, I added the foam strip. Then I have placed a piece of acetate sheet. If you don't have any acetate sheet, another good one is photo projection paper, acetate. It's the clear stuff that they use for photo for projections, and that just went straight over the top after I had added in some of the shaker shapes. So stamp first, add the foam strip, then add the foam shaker shapes in there, and then I've placed down the acetate scallop circle over the top. Underneath here is the brad, and that was because I didn't quite like the brad actually spinning, so I have covered it over with the words because the brad does spin. So this was my first attempt at doing a version of it as a shaker card. Then I had a thought, what about if I actually had cut one of these out? So cut out a scallop circle, cut out all 3 segments, and then that would have actually covered up, stick it down over the top of the foam sheet before the acetate. So it would be a scallop circle, stamped, foam strip, one of these on top, then put in the foam shaker pieces, then a piece of acetate over the top, and then that would allow you not to then see this piece here. So that's something I'm going to try next. This is also another way of actually hiding a squared off image. So say you were using the large turtle, and obviously if I'm going to stamp the turtle, he's going to now come out. I've got another turtle here. So if I was to stamp a turtle, he's going to be too big and he's going to stick out over here. So by using my template, I can stamp the turtle, get what I need in there of him, and then when I remove it, I could stick that back over the top, and then you won't see the sudden end line of the turtle. So that was another idea to do that as well. So now I did then want to show you another card. So then it got me thinking that maybe you could actually do words. Why do I need to stick to the 3 sections that it tells me to? So what I've done is love you, and I've used out of this stamp set in Symmetry, it actually has this cute little love heart. So I've just done that in there. So then I came to make this card. Now there's a few little things that you will need. So it goes together exactly the same, but I've turned it on its side. So what you need to do with this one is I've got a piece of real red, a layer of Calypso Coral. I've got my Designer Series paper cut out. I have stamped an in Symmetry flower or coordinate, so it's a monochromatic colour. Then what I've done is actually added this. What I found tricky with this part is it's really hard to turn this because you can't actually get in. So on the side it was a little bit easier, but when it's down the bottom it makes it tricky to actually get in and turn this. So a tip before you actually stick this all together is actually use the circle die to cut out a little bit of your base card to show that mechanism. You could also do the bottom of the card if you wanted, it wouldn't even matter. So then what I've done is just die cut out the word mum, and I've put that into here as well. So you can do that. Then it got me, that's what I started thinking, well, maybe I could actually have the whole I love you or love you and change the words. So same thing again. You will need to do this first and let it dry, and if possible, if it's not completely stuck down, what I was finding with this one is that it actually gets stuck on some of the letters. So sometimes if they weren't stuck down or the paper was a little bit iffy, it's a little bit better now that it has actually dried and I can go in both directions. So it just spells out the word mum. So I could have put a piece of acetate on the top of that as well, just to seal it, just to make sure that there was no way that those letters could catch up. But that was another idea that I had using here. So they are my cards of using the Give It a Whirl dice. So hope you like that and I hope it helps. Okay, bye.
So just do what you love. Live it, share